Jim Winston here from Wine Central Command. We're going to be looking at a terrific wine from Italy today, but I want to give you some background detail. There is a publication in Italy called Gambero Rosso, and they review Italian wine exclusively. And they look at about 20,000 plus wines annually, probably the same amount of wines, for example, that Wine Spectator does here in the US. But again, only Italy. And wines are reviewed first on a regional basis. Wineries can present wines if they think the wines are good enough for a panel to taste the wines, and the wines are tasted blind, meaning that people who are tasting the wines don't know the label. They don't have any connection to prejudging the wine based on previous fame of the estate. They're looking at the wine just because they're looking at the wine to taste the wine and evaluate it. And the people who are doing the evaluating are not connected in the wine industry specifically. They're not winemakers, they're not importers, distributors, restaurateurs. And if the wine is considered successful by the panel, they'll send it forward to Rome for a second round of tastings. And Rome now gets all the region's wines coming in from Umbria and from Sicily, from Piedmont, from Veneto. And again, their wines are tasted blind. And based on the tasting in Rome, they're going to make their award, and they're called glasses. 1 glass, 2 glasses, 3 glasses. 3-glass Bicchieri is considered to be the highest award. And it is awarded specifically to the wine, not to the estate per se, which is different. For example, in Bordeaux, if you're first growth Bordeaux Chateau Lafite, that's always going to be your designation, regardless of your vintage, and if you turn out a crap wine, which by the way they don't do. Or in Burgundy, Corton Charlemagne, it's Grand Cru vineyard, regardless of the quality that comes from the vineyard, it is Grand Cru. But a wine that gets that prestigious Tre Bicchieri award is getting the wine. It has nothing to do with what preceded it in previous vintages. And the wine we're tasting here is in fact the Tre Bicchieri winner. It's Piaggia Riserva 2017. And it comes from an area called Carmignano. And Carmignano is just north of Florence. And the main grape here is Sangiovese, which is the core grape of so many of the great Tuscan wines. In 1975, the Antinori family made a decision to make a break with the DOCG bottling law for the Classico district. This green label here, this is a DOCG, and it's Denominazione di Origine Controllata e Garantita. And what it's like is a good housekeeping seal approval. It means that a bottle of wine is adhering to the law that has been established by the consortia of producers of that region. And the Antinoris wanted to make a better wine than the DOCG law was permitting them to do. And they were going to do this by adding Cabernet to Sangiovese, which was a no-no in that region. So in order to do that, they created their own wine. It launched Super Tuscan wines onto the wine map of the world, and the wine was Tigonello, and it was Sangiovese with a small amount of Cabernet. Now, curiously enough, already existing in Tuscany, there was a region that was already permitted to use Cabernet in their wines, and that is Carmignano. So something that had existed in a small zone within Tuscany, with right next to the Classico district, already was putting Cabernet into the blend. And at the same time, in 1975, Piaggia got a DOC, which is not quite as specific a designation, and in the 1990 they were given the DOCG status, which is what they have now, which is why it has that green thing there. This wine is just getting better and better in the glass, I'm telling you right now. Beautiful, beautiful, deep color. rich scent. It's like silk. This wine is an absolute joy. It also got a great review. Suckling, James Suckling, it also gave it a great review. But you've heard me say this before, you drink for your pleasure, not for Suckling, not for mine either for that matter. But for sure, when you get a great review or an endorsement, such as a Trey Bicchieri wine, you know that the quality is there. And this wine is as smooth as it gets. And what's more, it has this wonderful length, but it's not heavy, it's not overly done, it's balanced. This is a wine that it's impossible to fatigue your palate. You could kill a bottle of this yourself without even blinking. It's so soft. And it's a joy. It's one of those wines that that's always fun for me to present. I just did a tasting of Trey Bicchieri wines. It's on the flight. That's why I'm presenting the wine this afternoon. And it's a type of wine that you'd expect to be spending a lot more money for. When I did this wine and presented it at a tasting, we were tasting wines that were a couple $100 within the tasting flight. And I told the folks at that time that this is one of the finest wines I've tasted, and for the price, it's I think a fabulous opportunity for people who want to have excellent wine for the quality, a very, very good price. But we're not talking price here right now. We're talking wine. Cheers.